Why do I start with so? Thank you very much for joining the live stream or for watching the recording. And hopefully my today's video will be as useful as all the 250 previous ones I've done, even though it might be a bit disappointing for some of you. And it's because I will be talking about the business visa. Because if you asked me what was the most complicated type of visa to get for the Czech Republic, I would not doubt for a second. I don't need to think about it. It's definitely the business visa, or you can call it freelance visa, živno visa, I don't know how else, but you can find all the different names on the internet, but it all goes back to the same thing, which is a business related visa. And why is it so difficult to get? I will explain in today's video. So let's go on the journey with me. Hopefully it will be good enough explanation. If not, you can use all the different channels of ways of asking me your questions. Check the description of the video. But let's jump right into it right now. Let me maybe start with saying that the Czech Republic in general is not the easiest country to get a visa for. Even in Europe, there are way better countries, way easier countries to get a visa for. So Poland, for example, or southern countries like let's say Spain, Portugal, Italy. There are countries where you can get easily visa, even business related. For example, in Spain, if you buy a property above some limit, you can automatically get a residence permit. There are like digital nomad visas in Europe, but not in the Czech Republic. And for any type of visa, basically, if you want to get a visa for the Czech Republic, you need to prove that your intentions are real. Okay, that if you want to study in the Czech Republic, you really need to be enrolled into some university already, and you need to be able to reasonably explain why you want to study in the Czech Republic, not somewhere else, why exactly the school, what will you be doing after you finish the school, all that. There is kind of a detailed interview. And this goes even more for the business visa. Because if you're moving here to run business, there are plenty of things you need to know and plenty of pieces that need to go together. That's why what it makes one of the most complicated, or definitely the most complicated visa to get. So let's go through the like particular things you should know about the business visa. In the beginning, the most important is that you need to meet some general conditions. First, of course, you need to get all the documents required by law, but it's usually not enough. You need to have even more documents than what is officially required, because if you only give the ministry the documents they want officially, you will never get the visa. Okay, so you always need to submit more than it's required, and no one tells you about it. Okay. So one of the most important things is to have a solid business plan. Of course, it depends, what it means depends on the type of business you plan on running. So for example, if you are an English teacher and like native speaker, American, Australian, Canadian, your solid business plan will be that you have some experience in teaching, you have a TEFL certification, and you've already found like 2-3 schools which will be happy to hire you as a freelance teacher once you get the visa approved. So that's it's a solid business plan, even though it's pretty simple. On the other hand, if you, for example, want to open a restaurant, okay, then it's not enough to just have a plan in your mind or to have like 2 customers say that they will be eating your pancakes there, but you need to have already the space for the restaurant, you need to rent it, you need to have a website for the restaurant or wherever you will be promoting the restaurant, you need to have the menu, you need to have the suppliers ready. So basically the whole business must be ready, and the only thing you're waiting for is the visa. That's one thing. Another thing is that everything must be on paper, okay? And for everything you need to have proofs. So if you say, hey, I will be opening a restaurant, then you really need to have like a lease agreement for the restaurant. It's not enough to say, yeah, I will lease some space, or I already have a lease, but you need to prove it. You also need to be kind of able to prove that you need to be in the Czech Republic to run the business. Okay, so that's definitely not suitable for digital nomads, because as a digital nomad, you don't need to be here to run the business. You can be anywhere in the world, so there is no real connection to the Czech Republic. Another example, if you only bought a restaurant which is already running, with employees and everything, that would also not be a reason for you to get a visa, because the restaurant is already running even if you don't have the visa yet. So there is no reason for you to get the visa if the restaurant is already running without you being there. So you need to find a balance between or you need to connect the business to the Czech Republic somehow, so why you need to do it in the Czech Republic and not somewhere else. And you also need to prove that you are significant in the business, and you need to be physically here for the business to grow and expand. That's another thing, and one of the most important as well is also to know about Czech taxes. So everything you will need to pay. As a freelancer, you need to know that you will be paying social security, healthcare, income tax, how much they are. The income tax is 15%, social security is this amount, healthcare is this amount, how it all works. When do you submit taxes? How you pay these monthly fees? How much they are? Will you hire an accountant? How much does the accountant cost? And all these kind of things. And that also multiplies the knowledge you need to have, and the, let's say, how well the documents must be prepared. It also very much changes with you applying as a freelancer under the trade license, or applying as a business owner under the SRO company, limited liability company. Because it used to be very popular 10 years ago for Russians and for Koreans and some other nationalities, that you just open the company. That was the mantra of all the visa advisors for Russians and Koreans and some other nationalities as well. That open a SRO company, you easily get the visa. That's not how it works anymore. Now the SRO company can even complicate the process more, because the thing was that 10 years ago you had to have at least 200,000 crowns to deposit and to establish the company. So it kind of proved that you have money to run the business, that you would probably not do it, you would probably not deposit 200,000 crowns to a company's Czech bank account if you didn't really want to do some business here. So it was kind of it worked 10 years ago. But now, with SRO companies, it works the way that you can set up an SRO company with 1 crown establishing capital for every investor, or basically every investor or owner. So if you are 2 owners, you can set up an SRO company with 2 crowns establishing capital. So that means nothing. If the company owns 2 crowns, it's no company. But many people do that because it's cheaper, easier. It's easy way to start. Not many people had 200,000 crowns to invest from the beginning 10 years ago. Now it's different. So SRO company is no longer kind of a solid thing, especially if you establish it with 2 crowns capital. And if you're a company, if you apply under the limited liability company, it kind of shows that the business is serious, because most of the things you can do as a freelancer. So if you already set up a company, that kind of indicates that the business plan is really, really solid and that you will be making big money. So you would need to prove that very well. You would need to have a very sophisticated business plan and everything really, really ready and be prepared for everything. And you would, of course, need to know more about taxes, because for freelancing, it's basically you pay social security, healthcare, income tax. Those 2 are on monthly basis. One is once a year in March, and that's it. For SRO, you will need to know about corporate tax, about employee tax, about business tax, about everything related to that. So it's even more complicated. So depending on the route you want to go, it can be either complicated or super complicated. Easy it's not in any case. Even if you're an English teacher, it's not really that easy anymore. Another reason why it's so complicated is not the first step. Even though the first step, meaning getting the visa, is complicated, and it's actually crucial for the whole thing, because then if you don't get the visa, then there are no extensions basically of the visa. But if you already get the visa and you get to the point of extending your stay, that's another story. Okay? Technically, you can get the visa for up to 1 year. And then if you want to stay longer than 1 year, you need to switch to a long-term residence permit. And that's where the problem starts. It would be more complicated for the SRO company. So I will not go there. If you're interested in that, comment or check some of my previous videos. Of course, if you also have some more questions or different questions, or you want to know more about other types of visas, get in touch, follow the instructions in the description of the video, and I'll be happy to answer and help you. But I will now stick just to the trade license because it's easier. But it's still kind of complicated, because for the first visa, financially, you only need to show that you have enough money in your bank account, okay? But for the residence permit, you need to show that you've been making enough on monthly basis. And if you combine this with taxes, and if you combine this with the unpredictability, is that the word? Unpredictability of the government and the taxes they will want you to pay, it's very difficult to do your taxes correctly. And especially last year, 2022, was a great example of that, because of the inflation, the government increased the required level of income. They basically doubled it, you know, compared to 2021. Beginning of 2023 was basically double. You know, it was 9,000 crowns for accommodation. Now it is 16, 17, 18, something like that for 2 people. There is no option for 1 person anymore. So basically doubled proof of accommodation, or like the accommodation cost. For the livable minimum, they also increased it from like 3,100 to over 4,000. So you need to be making way more money, and this changed basically 4 times in the last 6-7 months. So if you did your taxes in a way to meet the criteria of 2021, in 2022 and especially in 2023, it's no longer sufficient. So you need to count with that as well, which makes it even more complicated to stay here after the first visa approval. Plus, of course, you need to be taking care of all the payments, the social security, healthcare, income tax. You need to do your taxes properly. So that all makes the business visa the most complicated type of visa to apply for. Of course, I would say that still maybe 20-30% of our clients, which is I don't know, over 1,000 a year, then those are still freelancers or business owners. So it's still possible, but it's very much complicated, and you need to be aware of it if you're already deciding, hey, okay, I want to do this. Maybe one more thing is that there used to be quotas, and there are still technically quotas at some embassies about how many applications for business visa can be submitted every year, and those numbers were pretty low as well. So that's another barrier of getting the business visa, and from some countries it makes no sense to even try. But I'm not saying it's impossible. All I'm saying is that if you want to apply for the business visa, you need to be aware of all these things. You should like take off your pink glasses, if that's the same term in English, that you see everything like, okay, everything will be fine and everything will work out. And you need to be ready that the process might be a bit complicated and that you will really need to invest a lot. Not that much in terms of money, even though that's another thing, that for the business visa, the requirement for money is the highest from all the other types of visas. Okay, so it's now beginning of 2023, it's equivalent to 160,000 crowns, which is, I believe, over or around $7,000 US. Again, it was 4.5 before COVID. So not double, but it increased a lot as well. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but you need to be aware that it will not be that easy. So I guess that's it. If you have any questions, guys, please follow the instructions in the description of the video. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll be going to my TikTok in about, I don't know, 15 minutes, because I need to just cut this video, upload it to YouTube, and then I will go to TikTok and I will be doing live Q&As. So thank you very much. Hopefully this was useful, and see you next time on Thursday. Bye bye, guys. 7 people watching. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and have a lovely evening, night. And if you come to TikTok, I'll be super happy. Jan_Kalina.